Call to order the monthly meeting of the Public Safety Committee meeting, Tuesday, February 27th, 2024. I'd like to have Scott help me with the Pledge of Allegiance, if you will. Thank you.
All stand. So right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay.
You ready
Would you like
for
to make a
roll
roll call?
call? Okay, Chief Rod Malott.
Here.
Chief Shane Mall is absent. Captain Jay Christian.
Here. Chair
Nick Bercuda.
Here.
Vice Chair Michael Greenwald.
Here.
Mark Roden.
Here.
Scotland Rober.
Here.
Gary Walsh.
He is not here.
Okay.
Okay, special orders of business. I'll turn this over to Michael.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like you all to meet Stacy Enmeyer. She is the Executive Director of the I-5 Freedom Network that is an anti-human trafficking organization. She has a passion for breaking the corporate cycle of human trafficking through training, legal advocacy, and working alongside survivors by giving them the resources to create the life they want for themselves. Stacy has been in the nonprofit sector for 18 plus years and has a passion for social justice and advocacy. As of last October, the I-5 Freedom Network was an advocate that helped pass SB 14, which now makes human trafficking a serious crime in the state of California. Now, I have to tell you, I thought we were going to be in the council chambers, so this next sentence. All right. She is supported by her amazing husband, who happens to sit in the chair that I do in the council meetings, and her two wonderful young children. Stacy, welcome.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Pleasure to be here. Do I have the clicker? Awesome. Thank you, friends. First off, thank you for having me here, and thank you, Mike, for the invitation. I will say it has been a pleasure working alongside the city of San Clemente and what code enforcements we have that other cities do not. And we just are going through side by side of what San Clemente has, what Dana Point has, and how we differ. And I'll be emailing you, Mike, that sheet knowing where we can improve and where we're doing better, because it's really important with those that we can help with illicit massage parlors. So again, my name is Stacy Enmeyer. I have the privilege of being the executive director of the I-5 Freedom Network. If you guys are ever on Del Mar, come see me. I'm on Granada, right across the street from Shore Gardens. Stop by, say hi. Come talk to us what we're doing in our city, because it's really kind of cool what we're doing for the city of San Clemente. So I'm going to start now by asking about vocabulary and why words matter. Then we're going to go on to national, California, and Orange County in human trafficking. So right now, why words matter, the word prostitute or prostitution. I often ask people to envision what that looks like in their head. How do they feel when they see someone that they know is on the street corner? Versus human trafficking victim. What do you see? Do you see chains? Do you see held against their will? These common misnomers kind of negate the point. They're one and the same. I no longer use the word prostitute. I use human trafficking victim. According to Dr. Melissa Farley, it's less than 2% of women that are doing it on their own accord.
Wow.
That's huge. Dr. Melissa Farley has been in the leading research of human trafficking in the state of California, along in the world, since the 70s. And everything, she said, sometimes I'll give them grace of 5%. She's like, but every city that we do all the research, it's less than 2. So that's why words matter, because oftentimes how we feel about prostituting and human trafficking are very different, and invokes us to feel like something of empathy and understanding while looking at a human being. Now, I know you guys, Mike was saying a lot of you guys have an understanding of human trafficking. I just want to go over a couple definitions here. has to have force, fraud, or coercion, except for minors. You need none of that. That's an immediate 911. And it does not actually require movement. Oftentimes, again, the wording of smuggling versus trafficking gets combined, and while they can co-occur, they are often two different entities. What they say is that smuggling is a crime against a nation, trafficking is a crime against a human right. And that's the easy way to differentiate. Stop liking me. There we go. So the other thing we get that I've heard in San Clemente here in my office is, well, it's their choice. They choose to do this. And in my field, we call that a bonded choice. Do you eat tonight? Is he going to put your daughter on the streets if you don't perform what he's requiring of you? It's no longer the luxury of getting to make a choice. It's under the stress component of having to make really hard decisions fast. So oftentimes that question, well, they can just leave. It is a much more layered instance than, I don't want to do this anymore. Well, where are you going to go? You have no credit score. You don't have any ID. You have no funding of your own. How do you just walk away from something with literally nothing, with possible children? And are the streets safer than where you're at? And those are things you have to juggle. These are the stories I hear working alongside survivors. I'm going to go over a couple myths here because I think it's important, and these are all very relevant to the city of San Clemente because these are the questions I'm asked. People are kidnapped into slavery. Can I take my kids to the park, Stacy? Legit questions. Yes, your kids are safe. We live in a wonderful city, and oftentimes in the United States, traffickers don't want to kidnap children. We have too many systems in place. That once an Amber Alert goes up, once they're reported to the police, now you're a case. What you're going to want is to keep your head below water. You're not going to want to be seen. You're going to want to look like the average person. You're going to have that high school girl not dropping out of high school, but not always showing up to class all the time, but just enough to go under the radar of not being caught. Alyssa Massage is a typical location for willing sex work. I could go into, again, I promised Mike I would not go hours, because I can do that. But we can go into the H-2A and H-2B visas that are held, and they're here legally. And those documents are held over their head, saying you do this work, or you go back to where you came from, and or I'll hurt your family where they're at, because I know where you came from. So it's not always a willingness to work. There you go. Again, smuggling and trafficking are the same thing. Somehow they got into a lot of people's heads with specific documentaries and stuff like that. That kids are always kidnapped and they're taken away to foreign lines. And while that does happen, here in the state of California, the United States, in Orange County, it's extremely rare. Again, most people being trafficked are illegal immigrants. We'll get to the slide in Orange County, and 85% of people reported being trafficked between 2021 and 2022 is 85% U.S. citizens. So that just tells you the number. And even if they are born, they are here legally through their visas. Here are the staggering numbers for the state of California. We are the #1 place for sex trafficking. Anyone know why that possibly could be? Disneyland, Knott's Berry Farm, all of those places. Oh, I'm going to Knott's Berry Farm. Oh, well, there's people there and there's a service, there's a need. But people don't understand that this is a business model. It's a very sick business model. But supply and demand is really what we're fighting against. 80% are female, 20% are male. And those numbers are different in Orange County, but according to California. 30% is labor trafficking, 70% sex trafficking. Oftentimes we forget about labor trafficking. And in last December, the county of LA, I think it was Norwalk, actually caught 160 children in a poultry farm. That was as of December. So it's not happening very far from us. And in fact, that chicken they were plucking and taking are now in our Orange County supermarkets. So it's incredibly important that we know in our own backyard what's happening. It is a $150 billion with a B dollar industry a year. That's bigger than Starbucks. It used to be bigger than the NFL, and then Taylor Swift hit. It's bigger than, I mean, it's huge. And so the I-5, I mean, we're 3 people taking on, it's a David versus Goliath. And this is where we call in our public safety committees and our community to say, this is bigger than us. 1% of Johns are ever prosecuted. 99% are never recovered. And what I mean by never recovered is that they're never given the resources they need to leave. That may be that they leave on their own accord by some miracle, but that we know as in the anti-human trafficking world that 99% of survivors, we will never know. It's 1 in 256 people. Worldwide, that's what it is. That is staggering. I look at our high school. I look at our junior highs. California's national average for getting involved in human trafficking is 14. Nationally, for boys, and I say boys because it's 11 to 13. For girls, it's 12 to 14. Those are children. And that is the average time in which we can track the ones that we have found have gotten involved with being trafficked. Here's Orange County. They had in between 2021 and 2022, there are 420 new people that they found that got resources. It is overwhelmingly female. 374 female. That is huge. Meanwhile, 42 males. So we can see at our at-risk population what we're looking at. Of those, 1/3 are minors, female minors. These numbers, they're all through our Orange County Human Trafficking Task Force. They do amazing work, and every 2 years they publicize this. This came out in October. But as you can see, the numbers are right there. 2 out of 5 victims of sex trafficking were a minor in Orange County. 85 were U.S. victims. 10% male and 9% labor trafficking. So again, nationally, you see a big difference than what's happening in Orange County. Nationally, it's 30%. Here, it's 9, which tells us where our main focus should be. In the years of 2021 and 22, they found a 63% new victims. Now, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily escalating, but rather we finally are getting the resources out to get them the help that they need. 90% female. So we're 10% higher in Orange County than the national average. 9 out of 10 of labor trafficking were foreign victims. Notice we don't use the word alien, we don't use illegal, because most likely they were brought here legally. And 36% were minors. Age, so I want to go over the age with you when you see these factors. This is the age of which they received resources in Orange County. This is not the age in which they got involved in being trafficked. It is the age in which they might have gotten out. So we're seeing our biggest one is 25 plus. Okay, so if the national or California age of someone getting trafficked is 14, we're talking 11 years. That's a really long time to be in that field. A lot of trauma. The next one is 18 to 24, and you'll see they get smaller as they go under, and there's a reason for that. Who's going to help that 13 and under? That's most likely a parent trafficking their child. And when your own parents won't help you. Who is there to be able to step in and say something's different, something's not right? We see a very, very large number of Hispanics. And this oftentimes can be correlated, there's no causation, but there could be a correlation between gang violence in the Hispanic community and human trafficking. Working alongside former gang members, they will talk often about how they as females had to choose whether to get beaten in or raped in. And once you got raped, you belonged to the gang and you could be passed around. So you no longer had any autonomy. And so it's not necessarily the form of trafficking that people think about. It's not done for money, it's just done, now you're in, this is your duty. But it's not done by choice. Also with Black, white, Asian, and others, you can see it's much lower, but it's still very prevalent. And right now, what we're also seeing in Orange County is a lot more cyber trafficking. And it doesn't matter what socioeconomics you're in. There was a story the other day from one of my people at Waymakers of them having a doctor and a lawyer as parents. She sent one picture over the internet, thought it was someone safe, exploited her for years. Because once you're there, that means I'll show this picture to everyone. You no longer have that, and they'll all call you a whore. And that social embarrassment, because now everything is online, is causing a huge online presence within trafficking. And that is something where prevention of teaching parents proper etiquette of what they should and should be doing online comes into play, and also prevention, because we're talking 7th and 8th graders, guys. Their frontal cortex is not ready. They're not making good decisions. And yet that decision will permanently affect them for the rest of their life. Victim assistance. And this is where we give our props to law enforcement. They are by far 21% how people get assistance. Next is social services. If you guys don't have the National Human Trafficking Hotline in your phone, I encourage you to put it, because you can report, hey, or I'm sure you all have it. But normally I say if you don't have the non-emergency police line in your phone, make a call. Therapists. My interesting one is self-identified victim. Because we don't often know how did they find out that was happening. I had one survivor tell me, I watched, Crime Scene Investigators SVU for the first time. And I realized that's not normal. I was trafficked by my family my entire life, and it wasn't until I saw a TV show that I saw someone be prosecuted that I was like, wait, what? Huh? So it's oftentimes that self-identification. It's not them going inward to reflection. Of them saying, I don't think this is right. I don't know. It's usually something along the line that comes along. The justice system. So this is where we come in and we talk about SB 14 and SB 357. SB 357 was thought of to be a safer community. It was thought of that you don't want to penalize someone being trafficked. And all it did was handicapped our law enforcement. Now they can't go up to them and say, hey, what's going on? Let's bring you in. Let's get your pimp. Because it's out of their purview. So that's why policy really matters. And I'm sure, Captain Christian, you've seen the effect of not being able to do things because it's out of your purview and you legally can't, but you know something's not right. SB 14, it is the first time in the state of California that we were able to make something a serious crime. Since the 3-strike law went into pass, SB 14, it is now a serious crime to traffic a minor. These are huge victories. Because talking with the task force, and they go, how do you keep getting these girls? You were just out 2 weeks ago. And I go, I have a prototype. They're not dumb. They know it's a lucrative business, and they're willing to take that chance. So getting that on the books is absolutely monumental. So what we do here in San Clemente, and this is where you guys get to come alongside us, is that we created the Levi Project. It was started by Todd Foster, and he had a son, Levi, who was a general manager of a hotel in Lake Forest. And he said, I see this happening. I don't know what to do. I don't know who to call. And I don't want my hotel a part of it. So they came to Brenda, our founder, and they created something. It's the Levi Project. What it is, and also why hotels are important. The Polaris Project is done by the Department of Homeland Security. These are our national numbers. So you might say, Stacy, they don't add up to 100. But that's awesome because it's also because the 100 survivors had multiple experiences in hotels. Whether they 80% said commercial sex occurred in a hotel. Those are huge. And the one that they don't have up there, which they just don't have the data yet, is that in COVID, a lot of illicit massage parlors realized they could still be open in the hotels. They were considered essential workers. So they just changed venues. So that's part of the data that we don't have yet within those 100 survivors. Here's what we do. These are our cards, the front and the back. That little QR code, it's about that big, and you can tear it up, you can put it safe to where you might have a chance to scan the QR code, and then you have every resource that we can give you. It's on the back. It doesn't even have to be if you feel safe. If you see someone else not feeling safe, take a check mark and hand it to anyone in the hotel. It allows the hotel to know who's in their presence, what they can do, and also have help for those who are in need. Now, the Holiday Inn off Pico has been a rock star in this. They are putting them in every single key card. Others of them, we might put them at the front desk, or we might put them in our bathrooms. Because once you say that there's a card there, that might say that there might be a problem. And then rather saying we're just going to take a stance against it, it's just we're going to stick our head in the sand and say that doesn't happen here. This is also the sign that we create where they can be put in their gyms. It does not ever say help, because that to traffickers is a red sign. And also, if you'll notice on there, free. Hi, I'd like my free coffee. I got this card in the bathroom over there, my key card. Instantaneously, that hotel should know what their protocol is. They should, These are very simple, and you'd be surprised at how many hotels in the city of San Clemente don't want them. And that's the part where we get to come alongside and figure out how we change that. Community involvement and education. We have partnered alongside the city of San Clemente and done forums, because what we found is that community engagement and education are crucial. Absolutely crucial. Do you know what the indicators are? In 2014, it was in Oceanside that a teacher knew the indicators. And it turned out that two gangs had come together and realized they could make more money off of girls in high school than they could off of selling drugs. In 2018, 38 people were prosecuted for trafficking of minors, but it was because of that one teacher that recognized that girls were coming in different, there were indicators, and started reporting. It took one person to take down an entire ring. So knowing your indicators, how do we even prevent kids from getting involved, right? The biggest strategy we can do is also prevention. How do we stop, how do we break it, right? How do we break that cycle? And that comes in with working with our junior high health classes and working alongside all of that and asking them to start, you need 20 minutes of a health class about trafficking. That's nothing when we're talking about preventing a huge imminent force from happening. Also, we need to talk about thinking before we shop. Why on Temu is everything $5? Little hands make them. There's a reason why it's so cheap. So we also have to think about and encourage the community to take that stance of saying, I'm willing to pay a little bit more. I'm willing to check the app to see which company is clean, such as Nike versus Adidas. Nike got in hot water a couple years back, right, for all their labor trafficking. They now have the cleanest labor laws. They are there because they got caught. So I would rather shop at Nike than Adidas, who's kind of got some murky waters. So just making simple decisions such as that and being educated, and that's where the community component happens. Everyone should know they're not emergency OCSD, and you'd be surprised how many don't. Also, code enforcement. When it comes to your illicit massage parlors, that's really where it comes in. And again, I can't stress this enough when I talk to the people out there, minor 911. Just do a wellness check. Make sure they're safe. So here's what the PSC recommended in 2020. Oh, that D did not transfer well. Sorry about that. Delegate at least one point of contact by code compliance. So it doesn't mean creating a new position. It just means having someone who is educated on code compliance of what trafficking looks like. That way, if someone says, hey, I think I don't know, code compliance could be on there, say, hey, let me look into that. So that when someone knows the signs of what's going on. Develop inspecting and certain sheets of illicit massage parlors or just massage parlors in general, making sure that they're going through and someone actively going into those massage ordinance places there. Also going into random ones constantly, like don't set up the appointment. Just say it's code enforcement here, we're here to take a look around. It gets harder to hide things. Also, right now it's the positive incentives. Dangle the carrot. Because either way they're doing it. So what can we give them? Say, you know what? I'm going to make it very clear that I have clean labor practices. What would that look like? Providing staff impact and cost estimates. I know from a husband who sits on council, there's no money to put into an extra person going around doing this. That's not what we want. But I would like to know what it would take to actually have someone be a pinpoint for that.
Well, it's interesting you say that. We have our inspection scheduled for tomorrow. We only have 5 establishments in town, so I came from a city where we had 42.
Yes. And San Clemente is one of San Clemente and San Juan and Dana Point are some of the highest ordinances city than code of compliance in South Orange County. I can tell you that Miguel is squat. So the fact that we have these ordinances is fantastic, and that is to be, thank you for that. But yeah, just develop plans to implement. That's what we talked about. How do we, not just talking about it, but what do we need to do to actually make this a reality? For hotels, have hotels and motels just recognize that we have an issue. Take a stance. And of the 14, I believe it's 14 we have here, 14 we got in contact with, 5 are willing to talk to us. We offered this to have the city give them plaques, have the city recognize, hey, you are a hotel taking a stance. Again, whether it's on the website of, hey, here's some great hotels to go visit, they're taking a stance of human trafficking. Again, not trying to expend the city for anything more than just a dangling of the carrot. Problem is, it's not worth it. For those on the fence and willing to stick their neck out, they don't want a plaque. They don't want to recognize it's happening. They're making too much money. Again, business model. If you don't know, again, why are there no cameras oftentimes in parking garages? You just add leave your car at your own risk. If we don't see it, it didn't happen. We're not at fault. Also, other things we could do, and this is where we come with the Public Safety Committee of, like the stickers for the best of in San Clemente? Maybe they put that on the window of city recognized, taking a stance against human trafficking. What would it take? And that's where we get to come alongside and figure it out of what would it take for someone to actually take a stance and be willing to say, our hotel is proactive. For community forums, we agreed upon including human trafficking information in neighborhood watch programs, In August, we had one at the community center, and it's supposed to be chicken tongue, and it was not. We asked if we should legalize prostitution. People went with pitchforks, but the answer is always no. The answer, if anyone knows anything anti-human trafficking, when we decriminalize or we legalize human trafficking, skyrockets by 300%. The answer is always no. But there are people who believe that we should. And so you want the people to believe that it should be like, yeah, I'll go to that forum. Maybe this time we get processed. And they went a little sideways. But it was a great event nonetheless. Again, part of educating school counselors and teachers. They are your frontline defenders. They're now there. They see the kids in and out. Like I said, in Oceanside, it was literally one teacher who was like, they're coming in with really expensive jewelry. Their nails are done. They're missing just enough class, but they're not failing, so I don't have to report them. But they went from being an A student to a C student. And there's just enough of them in every single class doing the same thing. Also, what we don't have on the city codes enforcement is human trafficking and where to go, which person to call it on the website. So that was something we could agree upon, just adding it to the website of a code enforcement option and where to put that.
Being that this is a criminal, would we also want to include the sheriff's contact information?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to limit it to anything. Yes, absolutely. No, but if someone thinks like, hey, I went to a nail salon and it didn't feel like there's a couple things off, you go, okay, let's have code compliance. And our sheriff's like, or like, hey, their neon sign was on after 10 p.m. Hey, I can't see that's where the education comes in of knowing what code compliance has in store and how people can actually do. Because oftentimes they go, Stacey, I feel so helpless. I have no idea what to do. And I'm like, know your code compliance. They're there for a reason. The city was smart. Know what they are. And then here's a sheet of paper. If they were out of violation, make a phone call. Make it uncomfortable for them. Make it so that they know that they're being watched and we're aware as a community that we're not going to allow this behavior anymore. Like I said, what do we do now? We continue on the path of education. And I think specifically on how to empower our community, what they can do as an individual, and also what needs to be worked on. Let's reevaluate what was in place and what can we do better, what can we work on, where we see the gaps. Because we're doing some things great, and other things you're like, they're just hard and it's just, we don't know how to handle it. So just look at what we can do. Again, like I said, we've got to find ways for hotels to want to participate. And this is not uncommon. I've met with several hotels in San Juan. I'm like, oh no, we've done our training. It's a 20-minute video that they play while they do their work. And I go, okay, what's the difference between an in-call and an out-call? What? Mm-hmm. Okay, if you don't know those terms, y'all haven't been trained. Like, that is Hotel 101. You get it. Like, okay, but like, oh no, we've got a gold standard. We're good. So oftentimes they just claim this 20-minute video is how they're getting it. So how do we dangle the carrot? How do we make it shinier for them to want to do more than a 20-minute video? Again, continue to educate. Education and prevention, they're clutch. They're really important for how we can equip parents, grandparents, siblings to really prevent what's going on. Questions? Yes.
This is great. Thank you so much for coming. I had a question. So down in San Diego, there was a big outreach to, the transit district. Have you guys reached out to OCTA? Because what they found is that a lot of the trafficking victims were on the buses, the trains, and so they did a big outreach campaign, flyered,
I love that idea. From my knowledge, that has not been done on the I-5 perspective. I would need to look into whether Orange County Human Trafficking Task Force has come alongside, but I think that's a fantastic option.
Yeah, it was helpful just if anything, the education. So it was out on the trains, it was out on the buses, at the transit centers as well, when you walked into the restroom, who to contact, those types of.
Yeah, and that's also kind of, to piggyback on that, what the I-5 is doing is, we had a hair salon call us and say, someone came in, in my gut, know they were being trafficked. A scuzzy guy dropped her off. She cried the entire time. We asked her if she was okay. She had bruises on her. We didn't know what to do. We were paralyzed. And so also creating those cards for every industry.
Yes.
Do you need an angel haircut? Or, hey, here's this. Come in for a free haircut next time. And creating that so they look very much like it should be at the hair salon, but in a disguised way of offering them options. So I agree, that preventative aspect of giving them resources, because oftentimes they're so trapped, they don't know. They're so overwhelmed with just survival mode.
Another thing that we noticed is it wasn't just the massage establishments. There was a lot of this occurring in the nail salons. That, in fact,
Very much
we
so.
found that it was pretty even in,
100%. Yeah. Anywhere where you can stop it, but I would never limit it to just massage parlors. No,
Or nail
or
salons.
nail salons. Yeah.
or
it could be
restaurants, everything.
restaurants, your gardeners, oftentimes in hotels, they, during COVID, got a third-party vendor for their housekeeping.
Yeah.
But they didn't realize, they didn't do the due diligence of why were they cheaper. They were being trafficked. They weren't making the wage, but they were day in and day out at the third-party vendor. So you're right, it's not just your massage parlors. It is on a lot of area of where you can have labor trafficking and sex trafficking.
Danielle, does our municipal code prevent in massage parlors, nail salons, what have you, cots and sleeping?
Yeah, you cannot
Yeah.
have sleeping,
blankets.
No blanket, no mattress.
blankets. There's
No locks on
both
doors.
zoning. There's
Yeah, I just wasn't sure. I mean, yeah.
you can't have any of that. That for the cities that have really embraced this, they've included that. So CamTech regulates the massage licensing. So anyone who's licensed, and so a lot of cities adopted CamTechs, but then added additional ordinances, code language in there to cover some of the areas that CamTech didn't have.
And does our muni code require the hotels and motels to share customer rosters with names and license plates?
That, I don't know what the hotels and motels, maybe Stacy.
From my understanding, it does not. I don't think they do. And that's also, those are parts where,
That's
That's
exactly.
not something that we,
I mean,
It's
but
taking,
we
that was a great tool for us in Oakland. That's what
yes.
is a
So,
great
so normally
tool.
when we train hotels, we ask them that when someone checks in, you give them your ID, and that ID is copied, driver's license, name of who's actually renting the room, and that information again is accessible
Yeah,
then.
what's cool is when it's on municipal code, when the deputy goes in and goes, hey, I need to see the roster.
It was on the municipal code for massage establishments, so when we'd go in, we'd do pop checks, we
Yeah.
wouldn't let them know, and we'd say, let's see your log, right?
Yeah.
Of all the massages for the last 3 months, right? Or just, last week. And we found that a lot of them weren't keeping accurate logs, or it was in, Mandarin or
Yeah.
whatever, and it has to be, available in English for inspection at any time. But it does depend on the city and what they've adopted. And
So I will say San Clemente is better than Dana Point at this point because we require it to be done in Vietnamese. It's in English and Spanish only in Dana Point. So that's where we have a chance to really step up of seeing who is actually working alongside and what is their native language. All right, well, let's have it translated. And to be able to do that. It's simple things like the city of San Clemente's done that I'm like, yeah, good job, guys. Like, you're not going to put a sign in English or Spanish if they can't read it.
Yeah.
That doesn't help anyone.
But I think having that for the motels where they have to, upon request, have to share the names and license plates of people in the hotel, motel. I can tell you how many girls we saved just by running them out. Oh, this person's wanted for pimping. Let's keep an eye on that room.
Yeah, and you'd have a wealth of Oakland was. I remember back when I lived in the Bay Area, that was like notorious for all that.
Well, I was in the first unit ever to prosecute a pimp for human trafficking. The first time it ever happened, when 2361 became a law, the very first one, so.
Well, I think that would also, maybe in Captain Christian, you can chime in on this. But from my understanding, that would also help and make it easier if that code was in place. Of that way, the hotel doesn't have an option to say, no, I don't want to do that. That would allow your officers more like, hey, we know he's wanted for this, or we know he has a past of this. Keep an eye on, and that would give even a better relationship with the hotels, with your police, and also with the guests of the hotel, making sure that they know that they're safe. You know, that the police are there not to cause any trouble, but just to make sure that you're safe. You know what I mean? Like, not everything has to be a big deal, just a presence.
Right?
Let's see, organized crime,
Yes.
how's that influence? So you see
Oh.
that at all?
So yes, so right now drugs is the highest organized crime, but we are number 2 of human trafficking, and we are quickly on the rise.
And
The
what's
world.
being done on that one?
Well, that again, that's where we start locally. That's where we go bigger to nationally. But right now, you know, and there's many organizations out there that are doing a lot of good. Right now, the I-5 is mainly focused on San Clemente
Okay.
and other surrounding cities. We also do our prevention and hotel trainings. I mean, we've traveled as far as Las Vegas. You know, and our survivors that we come alongside, they can be anywhere in the United States. So we're not limited. At the same time, it is our hope that we can make San Clemente the example that others want to follow. To say, here's our ordinances we've done, like you said, for hotels. It's a simple one, but it can be a life changer for a woman.
Yes.
Another one is, you talk about getting the word out, having designations on Yelp or TripAdvisor. Any of that thought of?
You know, that does help. At the same time, there's apps that tell you where to go. There's apps that tell you what massage parlor to go to. There's apps that tell you what hotel to go to. So those negative reviews may stop someone from going in who isn't a part of trafficking, but there's not a whole lot of deterrence is what we're finding. Because if someone's going to engage, they're already going to be known for it, and that might not, like I said, it's easier to dangle the carrot and to show that, because we haven't seen much deterrence from what I've read on the Yelp reviews.
Well, that might actually get somebody that's possibly in the mood to partake to go to that place instead of keeping you and your family from not going.
It isn't.
Yeah.
And you know, you have Yelp
Exactly.
saying it's human trafficking safe and prevented and all that. You go to the ones that doesn't say it, I guess.
Well, they go to Rub Maps, but now
Yeah.
Rub Maps isn't even the number one site to find where those establishments are. You know, they're creative. They
They're not dumb.
find new ways. Yelp isn't really the place you go to locate those types of services.
Well, and oftentimes you may not even know, because again, in Oceanside, the hotel staff were in on it. They gave the traffickers a hotel card and was like, "That's our service card. Room, 210's open. No one's in there for the next 24 hours." So it goes so under the radar that I don't know if necessarily Yelp would be.
Well,
Like-
it's just the idea of if I'm a family looking for a place to overnight for my family or vacation or whatever, at least I could say, hey, at least they say, this particular place has been checked off as a good place.
Right, and that's where, I mean, it doesn't hurt. We can ask that, that's where we come alongside our hotel GMs and say, would having TripAdvisor saying you've participated in the I-5 training,
Yeah,
would that
that's-
like have more than your 20-minute training? Would that be an indicator for you to buy in and be a stakeholder in that? That's, something to look into with the hotels and see if that they can buy into that.
For anything. Tom?
The way you describe these trafficking victims, they sound as though they were literally homeless.
No, I apologize if that's what you're thinking. So, like I said, so oftentimes you have these young girls who are home and they have it's across the socioeconomic boards. There are some who are homeless, but I would absolutely say that is not the common denominator.
Now, what I mean is, if you have somebody who's working and has no place to go, has no ID, has nothing, and the only way they're gonna sleep tonight is to work first on their back. That's not good. But these people are not sleeping in a conventional home.
No, correct.
And therefore, under like HUD regulations, they are technically homeless.
Yes, some sleep in their car, some sleep couch surf, or they'll sleep at their pimp's house.
Now, we have in San Clemente a superb homeless outreach program.
Yeah, 100%.
How much overlap is there?
I would need to look into the numbers of San Clemente specifically. From my understanding, there is a correlation because oftentimes, and again, it's changing. What used to be they were completely homeless, now you're having the teenage girl who still lives at home right under the radar. So things in the world are changing. So I don't want to give you an absolute number on that one because we've seen so much change in the last 2 years. It's been remarkable.
What I mean is our homeless, is our anti-homeless program that's working so well, is this something we can leverage and expand?
I would need to talk with Captain Christensen and see what you guys are doing and to look deeper into that.
Yeah, the homeless outreach is to the city. It's not the department.
That's right, you're the resource officer. That's right.
Okay.
I wouldn't say there's any involvement with it.
Okay.
Just
Yeah.
because of their focus is the
Okay.
people on the streets. and
We don't
on the
want
streets.
Stacy, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, guys, for having me.
Good job. A lot of work to do. That's for sure.
Write your number down. It didn't.
Okay, next up is minutes.
Yes, she's our founder.
We're gonna do minutes here. If you look at January 23rd of this year, any additions, corrections? Available? They,
I moved to approve.
I know, we prepared.
They're all in your
What? I
things,
know.
but I have to wait till it passes and then I will have to
Move to
sign for the
approve.
meeting.
Yeah, you're jumping the gun there.
Oh, well, I just want to be available, you know. Okay, I've got a motion to approve from Mike.
Second.
Second from Scott. All in favor? Aye. Unanimous?
So moved.
Yeah. Okay, now we're going to do January 11th. Back it up a little bit. Take a look at those real quick.
Move to approve.
Got a motion to approve.
Second.
And a second from Scott. And a motion from Mike. Okay, Mike first. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
We go there. Okay, let's go to the January 22nd, which is a fairly easy one. This is a joint training, basically. January 22nd.
Move to approve.
Moved by Mike.
Second.
By Scott. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And finally, February 12th, which is another joint commission committee meeting, another training opportunity. We had,
Go, Mike.
I don't think you see it there.
I don't see it. Which one was it?
This is
February
February
This is
12th.
our hostile work environment
Yeah. I don't have
prevention
it.
training.
Last one I've got is the ethics. So somebody else will have to move on it.
There we go.
Thank you. Move to approve.
Got a motion moved?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay. Any oral or written communications to deal with there? I guess none. I hear none.
No, not that I'm aware, but
Okay.
I would refer to you.
All right, so we'll go to the next item, which is the Sheriff's Department performance measures. If you'll take a look at those. Jay,
Good afternoon.
how are you today?
Good afternoon.
Good, good. All right, well, you've got your page there for quarter one for the new fiscal year 23-24, 23-24. Our old format there laid out in all its glory. We've obviously had some discussion about this in the past. Sounds like there may be some future discussion today. Is Adam coming today? Do we know?
I don't know, there's been so many things that popped up today. I can text him and see if he's planning on coming.
Yeah, so we've had some discussion with Public Safety Committee about altering our performance review here. Currently, there's a process that I'm unaware of. At any rate, had some early conversation with Adam and Tammy, and also with the city manager, just kind of show him what I was thinking. And I know that's it after this page in your booklets there. There are the numbers on that first page. They are what they are. You guys can take a look there. I think what I'll do is just present them as I see them in this new handout, which pretty much speaks to the same type of information. I just like the appearance better. I think it's easier to look at. Gives you guys a better visual of our numbers as a whole here as we look through the quarters. So just notice here, I did put a disclaimer that the stats are pulled from various department sources and they're used for our policing strategies here in the city. And if they're not DOJ certified at the time, those are certified later at the end of the year. Actually, some months past the end of the year. So all these are subject to change. However, just looking at them, so looking at the quarter, you can see our calls for service there, nearly 5,000 for the quarter of dispatch calls for service, and nearly 2,000 for observed calls by deputies on patrol. To the right of that, you can see the crime A count, and Group A count, and the Group B count. Just for some clarification, that Group A now under the NIBRS reporting system encompasses like 71 crimes or so. They're all categorized differently now since we've transitioned to NIBRS from the UCR. Where UCR, again, the biggest difference is how they statted the crimes. If you had an incident where somebody was murdered, let's say for example, and there were other various crimes that were committed, only the murder was statted. So under this new reporting system, each individual crime gets statted. That's why it looks like the numbers compared to the UCR reporting numbers looks like it's blown up. That's really just accounting for all the different crimes that occur in each incident.
So, sorry, is a Group A crime a more serious crime than a Group B?
Typically, yes. Looking at NIBRS reporting, Group A includes all the previous ones, the 8 that were under the UCR, which is murder, mayhem, rape, robbery, theft, vehicle theft, and arson. If I hit them all there.
Yeah.
Actually have a breakdown. So under NIBRS, it's actually easier just to list what's a Group B offense because there's only 8 of them. And those are typically your disorderly conduct type stuff. Curfew, disorderly conduct, driving under the influence, nonviolent family offenses, liquor laws, trespassing, failure to peers, federal resource violations, perjury, and all other offenses. So all the other majors are in Group A, and they're all just broken down into more specific crimes under each category. For example, burglary has commercial burglaries. This is small print.
Where is it not long enough?
It's got all kinds of stuff. Commercial burglaries, import violations, export violations, wildlife trafficking. So it gets pretty specific when you look at how it's broken down. And of course, you've got all the counterfeiting, identity theft violations, all the different fraud violations there, and so on and so forth.
You're gonna have to give it to me.
I'm good.
That front page of the old style
Yep.
reporting, like all the numbers really hold pretty steady across month to month, but then the first page of the new reporting, like Group A decreased by 27% quarter over quarter. Is that is that expected or?
It's oddly enough, I saw that, and I think I had issues with it last time. But then again, moving on to this quarter, it is negative again. It was outlandish last time too, and I thought this can't be right. I mean, it makes it look like we're just absolutely crushing crime, and there's something we're doing to prevent it. And all I can think of it's crime is.
It's new management.
Maybe it is. It could be lack of reporting.
I'd be standing on
I
the
hate to
table.
look a gift horse in the mouth. I'm just wondering about the.
I know it, and I really don't have an explanation for it. On this front page, it is broken up between months, so you can see the degree or the percentage in decrease there across the board. Whereas as a total, it's 27% reduction, and then again in Group B, you have a minute reduction for the quarter. So I don't know. I wish I had a better explanation for you.
Hey,
Okay.
take the win.
Yeah, right.
All right. Yeah.
Next page.
Just a win.
This is consistent across the board. 202 arrests for the quarter. Got it broken down there. I thought this was nice. You get to see the felonies, misdemeanors, and 1 arrest. Moving on to the response times, we're at 4:31 for the quarter. Again, the mark is 5 minutes, so that looks really good there.
What was the goal on the response time?
5 minutes
5.
for a P1 call.
That is totally outstanding.
Yeah, that's
Even
great.
5 minutes, totally
Yeah, it is. And
outstanding.
a lot of that has to do with just making sure the guys know, hey, City Hall isn't a place for you to hang out and wait till you get a call. You have beat areas. Go into your beat areas, be there, be present. Just something that we've got on board now is this new Peregrine company that's come in and has allowed us to put all our numerous dashboards for all our different systems into one location. And so it's easier now to pull up this Peregrine product, and there's all kinds of stuff. I mean, I'm just touching the tip of the iceberg here, but I had some assistance in creating certain dashboards that I could look at, and it's current, up-to-date information. So response time, you can plug in whatever time frame you want, last 30 days, last year, last 90 days. P1 calls, you'll put a location on the map where they're coming out at, and it's like a heat map. It's really cool. I can see exactly where the majority of the P1s are coming out, so I can tell that car, hey, 73 car, these are the majority of the P1 calls coming out. You need to be in your area, mostly all the time. We don't need you coming from City Hall because, as you know, that'll take some time. Packing up your computer, getting your gear together, getting in the car, and then traveling to the location. Obviously, that's time. So that's something I can see is very beneficial. Just another map I put together was a heat map where we have traffic collisions that are occurring, and it puts a nice red color to where most of them are occurring, and I can then take another layer where most of our citations are being written by our motor officers. Those should line up, right? Mm-hmm. So I've got the ability, if it's off, to tell the motors, hey, we're having a lot of TCs here. I'm seeing most of your citations are being issued in this location. How about we focus on this area to try to limit some of those collisions from occurring? So some really good information that we're now getting our hands on that can be definitely useful in policing strategies. So I'm excited about that.
What is our worst intersection for crashes?
It is going to be De La Estrella and Palizada. It has to do a lot with where the freeway off-ramp and on-ramp are, and then...
And when you're waiting to turn left, it looks like a car's coming straight at you.
It's terrible. And I know the city's exploring options as what they can do at the intersection. They've talked about roundabouts. It's just tough with that location. It's so compact, and you've got a lot of vehicle traffic off the freeway, onto the freeway, trying to get down to the Pier Bowl, or just using it from El Camino Real as a way in and out of the city.
It's Palizada and what?
De La Estrella, it's that
Right,
first
Valero
street
station.
off the highway.
Yep.
Yeah, it's always congested. You know it well.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Looking at the next page.
Sorry,
Oh,
one
sorry.
more question. Is it, and I'm going to apologize in advance to my law enforcement counterparts here. A P1 call is a high priority call?
Priority one, emergency. So it's all our traffic collisions, crimes in progress, where life and property are in danger.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Scott.
Rod, one more ask a question, apparently.
We just drive over the lights all the time.
Was that Rod kicking you under the desk?
Yeah.
For you guys, I mean, somebody's grounding you, you're gonna go.
Thank you. They didn't know either.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing. Code 3 for us.
Cody, when we get together.
On the last page there, you can see the total accidents for the quarter printed out. You may notice that I think there's a slight discrepancy, and it all depends on when this was pulled. So I know this information on the old performance measure page, I believe that was given to the city probably months ago when Ryan, our guy that puts it together and gives the numbers, got the email. And now this was pulled from Peregrine, the stuff that I came up with, more recent. So it looks like the numbers have changed a little bit, and it could be due to late reporting as well. So you have a breakdown there. You can see the injury traffic collisions compared to the non-injury traffic collisions. So it's kind of a cool visual there for you guys to see. And then again, you got the citations. You got a little pie chart there. I think there's a misconception that no parking citations were being written. As you can see, we had 1752 parkers.
Wow.
A lot of that is, yeah, so I would say the majority of them, we have our CSOs out there issuing parking citations. Our motors do it as well. Not so much the black and white cars, but you have a lot of the RSVPs out there walking up and down Del Mar, hitting the parking lots, hitting the meters at the beaches, and even the high school.
Talking tires.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
they are not playing.
No, they're not.
I
They
don't-
take it very seriously.
It's the TSA.
15 feet from a fire hydrant?
Oh, yeah.
14 feet is not 15 feet. Here's a
Yeah.
$75 ticket.
It sounds like you found out the hard way.
There was a certain council member that told me he got a ticket for having the decal, but it was on the wrong side of his window.
Oh, wow.
Parked it.
Now that's getting, come on now.
Maybe
I
it was
used
just,
to
it wasn't
oversee parking
seen, I
enforcement.
don't know, or RSVPs are, a little bit more advanced in age.
Wait a minute, I resemble.
I know.
Are you
I'm
an
experienced-
RSVP?
experienced.
No.
Well, some of them are younger than we are.
Interested?
He's talking about age.
Oh,
Another little thing I added in there was the community involvement events. I know we get a lot of questions about Neighborhood Watch there, Nick. So you can see for the quarter we had one Neighborhood Watch meeting, home security assessment. That's something that Ryan's kind of done on his own, where he'll typically before Neighborhood Watch he'll go out to the neighborhood, walk around, and see what kind of reaction he gets from homeowners, and then at their request he'll go and kind of give them a plan to harden their home for whatever reason, burglaries, you name it, and then he'll do that for businesses as well. Give them ideas on what they can do to harden their homes. Special community events; those can be anything from our events or community engagement with some of the many events that we go out throughout the city, like 4th of July or Ocean Festival, Fiesta, and included in there is also engagement at the schools for some of the churches where we've had people out there do some presentations. So.
Bicycle rodeo.
Yeah, that would be included. That wasn't in this quarter, but that was earlier in the year.
Close on Pico.
No. And then you see there the packed house hours. The packed house is the little shed there down there by the pier. Those are the amount of hours that the RSVP put in, just staffing that to kind of be ambassadors to the city. So you can see what kind of the time they put in there. And that's pretty much it for the quarter. I'm hoping maybe at some point we can get a little more detailed as to how we get this process to change this permanently. And like I told Nick in a phone conversation the other day, if there's anything ever else you guys want to see stat-wise, I can have conversations offline. Look, we have a guest.
I was looking for a park ranger down here.
Oh, here's this.
Where's the photos? We got photos.
Oh, I know, I got Maverick. That thing, it's awesome. So
What
anyway.
is this time period for the Q1?
So that's going to be July, August, and September.
Okay, because I know Ryan's just knocking them dead on Neighborhood Watch programs right now.
Yeah, he's been pretty busy.
Yeah, real busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I talked to him the other day and got it. Yeah. So thank you.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I was hopefully trying to get Adam down here to explain what's preventing you from fighting these priority one things. They're not priority ones, but the A group. little more divided up so we can know exactly how many murders and how many
Crimes against
burglaries,
persons.
you know, all that
I can
stuff.
tell you we had 0 murders last year. We had 1 January
Right.
this year, so.
Yeah. So we don't have enough to look at. We have raw numbers of just one big bucket of A-type crimes. What's that mean? That's the problem. I
Wonderful world of stats.
Yeah, but I don't have any. This is the problem. So that's what I want to see if Adams has a reason. Something in the city is preventing us from breaking that down.
Well, I can tell you just in my department as well, they're very particular and they want us to be very cautious on giving out statistics because of the DOJ certification. Now that we're certified through NIBRS, it is given to the state and they are certified. Those are released once a year, where we can see all the breakdown with particular things. But like I said, I've got no problem with if you want to reach out to me offline, trying to go over some of those things to give you. I know, like for you, for example, you had a question about burglaries.
Yeah.
In preparation, that you'd ask me.
That seems like it would be a PRA request. Like, that I could go just make that request as a citizen, right?
Yeah, they could, but I think the issue is, okay, so you told them they had 18 burglaries, yeah, we looked at the statistics and there were actually 23 at a later date, right? So what changed? Maybe it was a late report, maybe something that was classified as one crime has now changed, it wasn't the crime that was reported after the report was written, or it was written for a burglary and then changed to something else by the time it got to the DA's office. So all those are classified and categorized as, I think at the end of the term, what happens with the case.
Sure.
I'm not a statistician. I couldn't tell you exactly how it works, but
The
I know
stats
for
would
myself,
be-
I've looked at monthly stats and seen discrepancies from month to month. So
Well, but even if we saw year by year, the certification year by year, at least we get an idea of, you know, are we maintaining the same in all those categories? Or is there some spike and there's an explanation for a spike?
yeah,
They're
so
always a year behind.
you're always a year behind. That is unfortunate, but they got to wait for the numbers to come in and get certified, right? Like so, I pulled, and anybody can do this. You can go onto the DOJ website on openjustice.doj.ca.gov and pull up crime statistics. So the last one that I was able to get was 2022, and it's all broken down from violent crimes to property crimes. Burglary, for example, shows you the means of entry, forcible entry, as opposed to no force, and location at the time, whether it was a residence, night, day, non-residence, night, day. So it's pretty cool, and anybody can jump on that website and take a look. Again, I know burglary is a big one for you. So just going back to July, did have a breakdown. We had 7 burglaries, breaking and entering, and it's broken down even further. 3 were at a parking lot or garage, 1 single family home, 1 was a store, and one was on a park or playground. So I'm gonna imagine that was probably a vehicle burglary. A lot of this is dependent on the end user and how they put it into the report as well. So if they don't fill out every category, it might not be captured as a specific classification. So it's kind of frustrating. There's no perfect answer.
Well,
We're not going to. We're looking for. Of course, I look for trends all the time. Example that I used was the Peregrine. When I can see the collisions aren't matching up with traffic citations, I can move them. Priority 1 calls. I can do that with anything really. I can plug it into the system. It just takes a little bit of time to get used to the system and be able to,
it's a tool.
Yeah, it's a great tool. It's not perfect, but with the advancements in the technology out there now, there's some really cool things that we can do now that we never could before. So it's exciting getting involved in it.
It's only one day, right? Like, you'll have the data the next day. The Peregrine system.
With Peregrine right now, we can get it actually if the report has been generated
Yeah.
or just put into the system. It should show up on the Peregrine system. It'll show that it's still in progress, which is cool.
Yeah, that's
Almost real time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those
it
are
almost is real time. It really is.
See.
Anyway, that's what I have. Any other questions? I'm here for you guys.
You had mentioned about stats.
Mhm.
I thought we had mentioned we might want to, if there were any, e-bike tickets and e-bike crashes. We know any?
I think Shane gets better stats as far as injuries as a result of an e-bike. I know
That's
that's
right, yeah.
something that our department doesn't mandate as
Yeah.
far as capturing that information. So what it would take for us is for our crime analysis to run all the collisions and then go through the narratives to figure out, was it a bike? I think bike is actually
It's-
checked, but to
yeah.
find out if that bike was an e-bike or not.
So that's, I guess, the question would be, does Switters define the difference between a bike and an e-bike now?
I
Is there
don't
a
think
different
so.
box?
I don't think it does.
I would imagine, especially with
It
that.
probably will at some point, I
Should
would
have,
think.
yeah. With that big change they just
Yeah.
had. Okay.
I think Shade got it written into the CFA's reporting function. I don't know if that's Image Trend or what they're using, but he got it written in as a required box in their incident reporting system. So we should be able to start getting some decently reliable statistics from the fire side.
Yeah.
But
Now, it won't be every, I guess that wouldn't include non-injury bike accidents because there may not be a fire response to that. But it would certainly include any of the injury.
Correct. And again, it would have to be a reported collision, right? Sometimes these things occur and they aren't reported.
now,
I mean, have we all seen this?
on the law enforcement end of it, the difference between an e-bike and a motor-driven cycle, you know, like those Chiron or whatever. it is.
Yeah, that's a motorcycle.
Like a motorcycle.
And that's a good point, because that could be statted if the deputy puts it as an e-bike somewhere in his
Yeah.
report.
Yeah.
I know for a while the terminology was kind of synonymous because nobody really knew where it fit in the classification.
Right.
Have they been advised now, in any time they're dealing with a basically pedalless e-bike, they need to refer to it as a motorcycle or electric motorcycle?
With a pedaling bike.
No, non-pedal.
Yeah, I mean, I think the word's out now on the Surons. My guys know, San Clemente guys know. I mean, that's why we're starting. We have been doing it, towing the motorcycles because you have to have a license, they have to be registered. They have to have insurance, and none of them do because
No,
you
but-
can't get them registered,
Yeah,
and you can't get insurance for them. Yeah.
Got that out.
We'll start working on that.
Thank you. Very good on the stats.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank
Yeah, you got it.
How do the flop cameras do?
Fantastic. And we get something probably every day on those.
Do you get stats with those, like how it's helped?
Again, it would have to have some sort of box that they would fill out where a flock camera system was used. And no, there's not a box on any reporting form that will have that.
Does it
But
fall?
they work it. I mean, they're working pretty good.
Yeah, they're great. So the deputies on their computers, they can log into Flock and have it up and activated. So anytime, for example, a stolen vehicle gets captured on the camera, it'll alert them the location that was hit. It'll pull up a picture of the vehicle, the license plate, and the license plate that it should have on the vehicle. Matter of fact, today there was our sergeant was in the area of Los Mares. I forget what store it was. One of the beauty stores over there. And somebody flagged him down and said, hey, there's just been a theft. Here's a vehicle description and the plate. 3 people running out and got into a car, took off. So they were able to flock. They were able to take that license plate, plug it into the system, and they could see it flocked right on the freeway. And then it ended up being detained over in San Juan in front of a Target over there.
Oh, wow.
And this is actually a case that, yeah, this was a case that originated out of Oceanside. They had a theft in Oceanside earlier today. So.
And how many cameras does
Great.
the city have now?
I think 36.
Yeah,
There's
they're
a couple.
expanding.
I don't know if they're expanding.
Does that count the Tolega ones?
No, it doesn't. Yeah, Tolega has another. Quite a few. At every entrance into Tolega, you can't get out of there without being caught on that flock camera.
Do any of the cars have LPR?
Not we. There might be one that still has it, but the flock is
Oh, yeah,
mainly
for
what it
sure,
is now. And as long as they're logged in, you get an alert there.
Well, that's, I mean, they're stationary, everybody drives past them. The LPR,
You have to
if
capture
you
it.
have some slug that has that car that doesn't move all shit, then they didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Speaking of flock, it's one of our
Mhm.
things that really made us, that one of our first projects we did get it. We're approaching the budget cycle. And the question is, are you in a position to recommend additional cameras? Do we need them?
I think there's a few gaps where we could probably use a couple.
And if you do, could you let us know so we can get that into the budget? budget.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do.
Because that's always a good thing to do, especially if it's a game changer. I want to close that net as best we can.
100%.
Give you the tools to get the bad guys off.
Excellent.
Crushing crime, right?
We don't have them on the Lapata, like underneath the footbridge. I think that'd be a great spot going in and out of town.
It's if you come up to, I forget, the next intersection has one.
Del Rio.
Del Rio.
Oh, that one?
Yeah,
There's
there's one
I guess I
there.
just never noticed it.
Yeah, I want to say that there is a little gap on the south end of ECR, and one of the on ramps or off ramps.
Is it the one that's in San Diego County?
It might be that one. It very well could be. Yeah, Christianitos. I got to check with my guys. They know. They know because they're constantly on this flock system using it to investigate suspects.
You know, that's good for us to know, you know, and I'll probably be asking, but you may just volunteer the information of, you know, stats is stats, but how valuable is this? Because the city council's got to know this stuff because they're paying for it. And we want to be right behind you to make sure we get the good stuff.
Yeah, the city has inquired because I think that the term was coming due and they were getting a discount if they bought like a 5-year program. So they had asked us if we gave them information on how useful it is for us. Some stats behind it.
So it's, you know, it's really positive. In fact, the other jurisdictions I've talked to, I think they say it's a game changer too. So
It really is.
especially when you net them all together in the whole county and other outlying areas. So.
Yep. Yeah, the investigators constantly checking flocks through other agencies, and they get to do the same with us. I get systems will email me, hey, Pasadena PD wants access to the flock cameras. Yes, it's always a yes.
And the Talag ones automatically trigger on when they're
Yes.
logged into?
Great. All right. Any more for the?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good job. We'll have more later on.
Oh, I'm sure you will. I'm here for it.
Rod, thank you so much. Rod, how can we help you?
Well, performance measures, right?
Yeah.
So for lifeguard business, it's the busiest quarter we have. Right? July, August, and September.
Oh.
So the best stat I can give you on that, there's continued to be no drownings in that quarter. And since then.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
Pretty simple. I mean, if you guys have any questions, I can. I'm sure you guys reviewed this, but as far as rescue wise, that number is pretty low. We had just over 1,700 for the calendar year. So typically, I would say we probably average about 2,500. We've been as high as about 4,600 for the year. Preventative actions, public eds, schools outreach, which is, that's not the time of year to be going out to schools, which we'll be hitting now, March, April, May. So we'll see those in another performance measures. So I'm not sure if you guys have any questions, but they're pretty simple and laid out.
Okay,
Sorry.
one more time. One more time. Junior lifeguard. It's always a sellout. Right? Pretty close to it, if not. I'd like to see some stats on the thing because it makes it bigger and bigger. Important guy.
He reported out on it, I think, and he reported out on it live. I think in September you reported out on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
But it hasn't happened again.
It's not the Gary yet.
yeah, it's
No, but it already.
They'll be signing up for the new classes coming. Right?
April 24th,
Yeah.
I believe, is swim test start. March, second Wednesday in March, and then the weekends.
My consider is there's not a lining for it. Even though in certain quarters there's no action on it. But if
Oh, well, this isn't for junior lifeguards. This is.
I know,
Yeah.
I know.
I know.
What would
Your
the
wish
met-
is to see something.
What would the
for junior
metric be
lifeguards.
though?
How many?
But he reported out on that in September.
They were discussed.
I'd like to have the form.
They can wait till item
Rather
9.
than verbally do it.
8.4, which is
So
where you
then
can
then it's
see
in black and white,
statistical
and it's
information,
used for budget
and they have a
purposes
subcommittee.
to help him.
Yeah.
But you did, I could have swore I saw something that had all the numbers for junior guards. But like back in September, you told us how many people were in it, how many sessions.
Right.
Yeah, we had it.
Going
I remember.
Yeah, but not.
It wasn't on this chart,
Yeah.
yeah.
We're looking for the city, the official city
Yeah,
stat
that's,
chart.
that's not on those.
Exactly, that's the
Stat
point.
data.
Okay, but you're reviewing these. If you want to make a recommendation in the agenda, there's additional statistical information, and that would be the time to be like, hey, I want to see this too. But he's not going to have it on this. So if you want to make a recommendation like how you did for Captain Christian,
Yeah,
you would need to make that down in that section. So that
994.
9.4.
9-4
Yeah, section 9,
Oh,
subject 4.
in the agenda.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you. What else we got?
Do you want an update from Marine Safety? I can give you an update.
We can hold off and do the stats here.
Yeah.
The only question I got, and I've asked this before a year ago or whatever, is how do you count the beach visitors?
Yeah.
Do you count the
Turns
legs
out.
and divide by 2?
No, it's based upon obviously weather, time of the year, whether it's a weekday, whether it's a weekend, and it's like air temperature, water temperature, and how many staffing that we have, and we have a chart. So the chart's done summer months and then off-season months, and it's all weather dependent. So it's an estimate, but the city is getting between Adams Group and Samantha and Marine Safety technology that's able to exactly know how many people are in one area and give you those attendance. So that should be coming out
Good.
in the new budget.
Cell phone, right?
Yeah.
Well, that can be done, it's done from the live stream, right? They can tell by density, stuff like that.
It's technology that's using their cell phones.
Yeah.
And your new drone.
Yeah. What's that?
The new drone.
Yeah. Well, there is technology that you can use the drone and fly it over, and they can count.
Right.
Yeah. We used to have attendance counters that we used to go out there, but those are not accurate because people are going back and forth, and so you're not getting one for one. So.
I mean, it's good that there is some technology coming up
Yeah.
to validate your numbers here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We might see that it's way more.
exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and then you need some more help.
Yeah.
See? So, any new employees that, yeah, that's in your report.
Oh, that's fine. I can tell you. We started our rookie academy. That's 5 weeks long, 100 hours, and it started last Saturday.
Mhm.
We're running 5 consecutive weekends. We have 13 rookies in that, and then we just finished the first round of interviews for a Marine Safety Officer full-time position last Thursday, and so we're working with HR to work on our second round of interviews.
Spiffy. And then they readjusted the salaries or the hourly rates.
That was on the agenda for Lifeguard 1 and 2. That was
Yeah.
something, they adjusted those salaries back on May 29th because that was the goal to get that through. So the city manager authorized that. So they're almost a year into that. They'll get a bump on May 29th and move to the next step. But it got formalized through council, last council, or
Good job.
2 councils, I guess.
Good job.
Yeah.
Super. Anything else for the stats? Any other questions?
Thank you.
Okay, good. New business. We have some new business. See none. Okay.
I have something I want to put on the agenda for next month.
Is it under work on? Is it work?
Yeah, it's a,
Let's wait till we get down to that, and we'll do that. Okay. Unfinished business, communication disaster preparedness project. Let's see, I've been contacting, finding out if our past contractor, Jacob Green and Associates, if their contract is over, but the city still keeps the door open just a little bit for individual assistance with disaster planning and training. Hopefully, the budget cycle will the council will take our recommendation to get a disaster planner on board as soon as possible. And I think that's going to work out real well.
Where is that in the process?
The item for the disaster planning,
For the position?
well, it's in the budget cycle. It has to go to and the city council has to hear all that stuff. So it's being written up and lobbied and stuff like that.
So
I
I
feel like
believe the
we're further.
council approved it, right? It wasn't required that you ended up having to do a presentation. They just
Right.
approved it when they were, I forget, when they read through everything. So it is approved. Now, when budgeting comes about, there'll be more information and they'll get more into, like, I'm sure pay scales and, all of that and where that position would report to. I know there's been talk of wanting to have a public safety department. So I think there's a lot of things still being vetted, figured out.
So one thing is getting the item ordinance approved, the other one is funding it.
So it's approved.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got that ordinance, so, but you gotta get it funded.
I thought I recalled somebody saying that they were gonna use funds from a position we didn't use anymore, but was still on the budget.
That's what they're moving the numbers around and
Accounting magic.
yeah, so let's see, what else we got here on that. Okay, still working on pushing for that disaster planner, because we certainly need it. You got all these disasters going on and we don't have a planner, so. All right, homeless and best practices. You have any more on, thank you for bringing in Ms. Edemar.
Where are we here? Oh, I see, okay. The homeless isn't mine. Neighborhood Watch and Human Trafficking are mine.
Yeah. Homeless. Jeez.
Nothing.
Did I get?
Got it.
Because our eyesore there at the south end of town has been cleared. What all of a sudden changes?
Moving around?
San Diego actually coming up
That's
and
right.
moving
It
along?
came up a little bit.
Oh,
It's
okay.
my understanding that our deputy was down there quite a bit.
Okay.
To introduce, looking at the people that were criminals, that had warrants, taking them away. Apparently there was one major player, once she was in a bit of, and it kind of sorted itself out.
Okay, now, I forgot that Gary Walsh gave me a point in time report,
There you go.
okay? And it's on this homeless subject, and I'll read it to you real quick. Gary says he was curious as to if the recent point in time figures have been received by the city, and so he spoke to the homeless outreach specialist, Carly Hunter, and here's what she said. Point in time count is not available until sometime in April, possibly May. However, she said that they had participated in one of two scheduled counts, and that there was only 10 people interviewed during that session. That's one session. She believes the second session count produced about the same numbers. Very preliminarily, that means our homeless population is roughly in the 20s. This is a dramatic drop from when the city ended their homeless outreach with an outside group, CityNet, and hired their own outreach personnel. The 2019 point in time count placed our homeless population at 145. The 2022 count was 131. Do the methodology and restrictions of how volunteers are instructed to count. It was believed the numbers under reflected the true population, with our own homeless outreach coordinator assisting in directing the count in our city. The numbers this year should be more accurate. I asked Ms. Hunter what she thought that caused the dramatic decrease, and she said she and fellow outreach worker Troy had found placements for many of our homeless, and due to their vigilance, many homeless have left the area to find situations more suitable to their liking. I would like to schedule her to attend our May meeting and provide a more comprehensive report that would reflect statistical data and summary. Respectfully submitted. Very well.
So Carly and Troy work directly for me in our department, and so
You're responsible.
yes, and so that
Very
information is correct, and they'd be happy to come speak. So if you do want Carly and Troy to come and give you guys a brief presentation, I think it would be helpful and insightful in your work plan to kind of know what is currently the issues that, you know, we're dealing with out there.
Would it be better for them to come when the certified figures come out in April or May?
I don't think it matters. It's up to you. Those numbers are correct that Carly gave you. There, you know, maybe there's a couple, you know, if somebody counted, but it sounds like it's under 20 on the official point in time count. So, yeah, why don't you guys choose? It doesn't matter whether the official numbers come out, or you want to wait, or you want to do it sooner, that's fine.
I'll ask the co-subcommittee.
Well,
guy.
by him asking for May, it kind of seems like that was his intent to wait.
I think it was.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll
Unless
see
it's a
if
typo.
they're available. Yeah, geez.
Or maybe. That way we have the firm numbers for the year.
Well, you know what's interesting, what's unique to this area though, too, is, I don't know how it would come in the number generation, but this is gonna sound like a deja vu thing, but we have homeless, we have transient homeless, right? So we have homeless people that, they'll do a couple nights at San Juan, a couple nights here, a couple nights at Dana Point, so it's like, I mean, it's hard to count those people, so. But I mean, the drop from, what was it, 140 in 2019 to, but that's because you guys had like a compound for them, right?
Yeah, the compound, and then compound turned it into a hostel
Yeah.
for traveling surfers. So,
So it's amazing when you don't lay out the bedroll on the pillow, they don't stay, so.
And when you hire staff,
Yeah.
like with city benefits and all that, and you empower them and you give them the support and the resources, and you hire the right people, they've done
Yeah.
a phenomenal job.
amazing job.
And on top of that, the city really got involved in this private security service too, eyes and ears. You know, nobody wants to be watched all the time.
That wasn't really helpful in their role for Carly and Troy, but they can share
No,
more
just,
on
I think he means like the reduction, right? They don't wanna live in North Beach when the security guards are walking around all the time.
Yeah, that must have some impact on it.
Can't measure non-impact.
That's true. You can't.
I think Amber and Carly and Troy, it's just the combination that they work so well together. They speak volumes of Amber. Amber's the deputy that assists them, and they're just a dynamic force. It's just the right combination of personalities and expertise. And so it's not Carly and Troy alone. It is definitely with collaboration and support from our deputies. So
Well, we need that.
Based on those
cooperation.
numbers, they're doing better than most people are.
Yeah,
they
for sure. We're very fortunate.
I have heard a rumor that back in '22, we had around 130 homeless, of which 50 were in temporary unapproved or semi-approved shelters, and 80 were on the streets. And if we only counted 20 this time, that's a substantial reduction from 80. I forget 130. Even reducing it from 80, that's a 75% reduction. And we got to employ Troy and Carly, and we got to double their salaries.
City council meeting is,
I doubt we had 80 homeless and 22 like actual.
Well, I don't know.
No.
There was
they did.
22?
That's, yeah, when Carly and Troy first started, you know, well, it was Carly first, then Troy got hired later. It was pretty out of control from what,
Regardless of what the numbers were, I mean, you could see it. You could
Yeah.
see it out there on the streets, whether you're driving by, visiting the beach, living there.
It was more than. Yeah. I guess it just never seemed that bad.
I don't know how accurate the numbers can
Yeah.
be. I mean, especially given when they count, the time of year they count, dead of winter as opposed to summertime.
True.
It's tough, but I don't think anything should be taken from Carly and Troy and
Oh,
Amber,
no.
who were
Yeah.
out there just.
I mean, if any of you saw North
Day and night.
Beach at its height, I mean, it was ridiculous.
I'm sure there's plenty of residents down there that would attest to the same. That it's
Yeah.
really dramatic.
There was a gal camped out in front of the roadway on ECR.
Yeah. Anyway, we need to talk to, let them know that we acknowledge and appreciate all their activities on that.
and just for your guys' education, on our website, they post their monthly stats. So you can go on the website and see for last month, okay, what were the numbers?
And what category, because it's tough for me to get around.
Well, I'll send you a link when I'm
Good.
back at my
The
desk.
public needs to know that too.
They do. Oh, they do. You haven't, you do watch the council meetings or come, right? There's certain
Yeah.
people that really, really study those numbers.
Just ask AI. Look at all the info.
That's true, yeah, Google it, it's gonna be there for sure.
Okay.
Good on that one, all right. Neighborhood watch.
Chief, great. Ryan is just killing it. Poor department he left. They don't know how much they lost. Okay, great. He has done, he's got like 20 ball captains since January 1st. He's holding meetings. He had a huge meeting in Talega, and other Talega people are now like just jumping on him to come up. And he's just doing a great job. And he and I were discussing neighborhood watch signs, and I really think the city needs to step up and provide signs. They were doing it for a while, and apparently it went away. And we've got quotes for about $35 a sign, and apparently city staff can install them. And I think that we ought to ask for $5,000 in the budget to pick up, I forget, it was like 135 signs. Because when Ryan can go out and actually show these people, we'll put the sign up, okay, and to show our commitment to them to be committed to the neighborhood watch program.
I don't want to speak out of line, Mike. I believe we do have some signs. The city has some signs.
There were like 40 ordered at one
Yeah, and I
point.
think the issue is the city's more than willing to do them on city streets.
Mm-hmm.
If it's inside of an HOA, they're hoping that the HOA can pick that up
Yeah, well,
since it's their street. So
I
that
will-
option is there, and I think Ryan is telling the HOAs, hey, we have these signs available. We can put up. The city will still put them up at no cost, I believe,
Good
for
deal.
the HOAs.
Do you know which ones we have? The blue ones or the one with the burglar on
I believe it's the blue
it? Like
one.
that one?
These were San Clemente
I'm not sure.
specific.
Yeah, I think San Clemente had their own signs made. I know Ryan would like to see the more generic one there with the orange one because it
Yeah.
stands out a little bit more.
And it scares kids. No, you think I'm joking. I'm serious. Like, there's people watching it. Like,
Yeah.
that stands out. I remember being a kid seeing it like,
Yeah.
and that's creepy.
Right.
Like, just a big eye. What does that do?
I think you want something like that that stands out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That blends in the community more.
I think the ones that we have currently are San Clemente specific, and Ryan and I both want that sign.
That sounds like a great recommendation.
And I can speak for one HOA that we will be more than glad to install the 3 signs to bring them up to date. And ours are faded, and we'd love to have them. And we will we will install them.
I don't have the work plan in front of me, but I certainly believe that there is a budget for neighborhood involvement. And that should be right in there.
Well, let's find out, because I'd like to make that recommendation for at least $5,000 to, kick this program off. And I think the city is gonna see the benefit of it.
Oh, yeah, the city wants it. That's why it's on our work plan. It was approved by the.
It's not.
So,
What's not, it's not over.
There's no budget currently.
So what I would ask that we put it in the budget.
Then there's a recommendation. Want to make a motion on that?
Maybe that's so moved.
For
$5,000 for neighborhood watch signs.
the watch sign?
And if we go with the more generic ones, we can probably get 200,
Or whatever we
Yeah,
can for
yeah.
that amount. And
because they'll be less expensive.
yeah, generic and all together.
How many are already in place? Because we're not gonna replace them unless they're bad, right?
Well, they're old phone numbers that no longer work.
Yes.
So, they're faded,
That's the first
wrong information. So we'll get some up-to-date information. Because if someone sees something right off the sign, the number's disconnected.
So, and Danielle, I don't know if this is a question for you. I know this is gonna sound crazy. Do we have to pay Public Works to put them up? Because I know some cities
So I
work weird
want
like
to
that.
say that Adam said that for the signage and everything, that you guys, that the sheriffs had monies that were put towards that. I'm gonna have to confirm just to make sure, because I think that was in the previous year. This wasn't added to the work plan for the for the $5,000 and everything for the signs and such. So I just need to ask him. I don't know if,
So
the
that's why-
monies
yeah.
are still there because they weren't completely utilized. I don't know. And that wasn't really talked about, those specifics in the work plan. And like if you watched last council meeting, they're really wanting the work to come from the subcommittees. So if there is something, try to kind of envision that so we can account for that when we're submitting our work.
I don't have access to my email right here, okay, but I will pull it up and forward it to you, because it was a point where the city was going to install them on any public street.
No, I completely believe you, because Adam had mentioned something about, I just don't know where that money is now,
Yeah.
where it's coming from, and if we still have access.
Well, and also the issue before we ask for money, because like I said, so I ran into this issue myself in my previous life, right? I have all the money for these signs. Oh, but Public Works, that's gonna take 4 guys, 8 hours a day for 5 days. We actually have to pay that amount. And my thought process, but they're at work. Like, no. But you're specifically asking them to do something that's,
So work orders.
And
like-
if it's on HOA private property, that's not.
No,
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
there's these other
if the
situations.
HOAs want them, okay, they realize they're on private streets. I mean, our HOA, which we have a meeting at 6 o'clock, we know that we would have to install them. We just want them up to date with all the current information. And I asked for this about 2 years ago with Adam, just to give us, we'd have our own signs made if we just get all the updated information that we needed to put on them. So, because we only have 3 of them,
but can we find out if the labor has to be part of what's budgeted for it? Or if they'll just do it in the normal course of their duties? I know that sounds like an insane question, but the way these
it's a great
Public Works
question.
work.
No, I get what you,
Yeah,
I was going off the email that I had that I'd gotten from Ryan, and again, it could just be outdated because somebody may have changed their mind. So,
I mean,
thank you.
lots of stuff is,
and
Public Works kills a lot of
how many signs were you hoping to make? I'm sorry, I didn't catch.
I figured if we have to go with the San Clemente signs, it's like 125. We could probably get 200 if we go with a
more
different
generic.
vendor and so
paper. Paper's cheaper.
What?
No, I'm just kidding. Paper signs, they're cheaper.
Don't last too long.
Only during the summer, though.
Actually, what a lot of places are doing to save money, they're using those corrugated, high-density plastic instead
Right.
of metal. I don't think that would be good for us, but
No, just get some good ones, and 200 would give Ryan a lot of time. Toledo alone, okay, could probably use 50 signs or more. So
Anyway, the
you.
motion is,
to ask $5,000 for neighborhood watch signs for the production of neighborhood watch signs, and ask the city to install them
yes,
for free.
for free.
I second that.
good. Okay, it's been moved and second. Do we recommend?
Like I said, I don't know if we specified that in the work plan for this year, so I'm gonna have to talk to Adam about that, if we can do that.
And
Thank you.
if we need to, because the budget cycle's coming along, we gotta see what we can do with that. So Adam is a resource on that.
Just
And
actually
it's
makes
an
sense.
important resource
This
we
is
need
fine.
for that program.
Stop signs. It's just stop signs.
Okay.
All right, thank you. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So there, okay. Now we're down to statistical information review. My suggestion is on the statistical information is getting more stats on the marine safety as far as the junior lifeguard program. Any comment on that?
No.
All right. So I would like to move that we see that on the city forum.
Second that.
Any discussion?
You need clarification on something?
On what? On the motion or something?
Recuda made a motion that the junior lifeguard statistics be included in the marine safety report out form.
That whole thing has to go to council and be approved.
Yeah, that's not something, so if you guys wanna, write a document requesting that to council, I know Adam said that wasn't something that was in kind of your guys' purview on the junior lifeguard, but if you wanna make that recommendation, I'll talk to Adam.
That's what I'm trying to do.
And just a sub note, sorry, if you're in a subcommittee for statistics, you can reach out to anybody at any time, get the statistics and bring them and present them here.
From your
The ones that
subcommittee.
you guys are reviewing are the ones approved that are reported to the city manager. So that's completely separate, so you guys can review any statistics under that item because it's a continual part of your work plan. So if the subcommittee reaches out and gets, 50 statistics from somebody that's not on here, that doesn't even have to be done when the performance measures are presented per agency. Those can be done during that item because it's a continual work plan item at any meeting. So until those are approved, if that's what you guys wanted to do,
Yeah, my purpose in presenting this is that I want to, they're putting a lot of effort and time and effort into that project, junior lifeguard thing, and it's an every year type thing. And they ought to get some recognition for that. I think it's an appropriate line that needs to be put on there.
So absolutely, and I would agree. Taking input as to the procedural side of this, maybe you and I as a subcommittee can reach out to Chief Malott and get that, whatever those stats are, on the scope and scale of the junior lifeguard program, and then we bring that and report that out as part of our subcommittee
Exactly.
report out, and then it's memorialized in the minutes.
Understood.
Is that-
Unfortunately, that doesn't show up on the budgetary, on the big budget for the city. And I want him to get recognition
But
for that program.
where he's talking about is how you build that to get to that point. So Andy mentioned it, it's been mentioned in the city council meetings, is the intent behind the subgroups is that, just like how Natani described, that you guys get together, you do the research, you talk to the chief, you do whatever background work, and you bring that information in your report during your subcommittee, right?
I can tell you that the city council is very aware of the numbers of junior lifeguards. They see the revenue. And it's reported, and it's in the budget documents. They're, very involved, especially the decision to change how the registration process is, because they do get those complaints that they're very aware of the success of the program and some of the constraints of, with the registration problems, and they also see the revenue through the budget documents as well. So we, just so you know, we do get a lot of recognition from council. It's the shining star of the city's all the programs year after year for 50 plus years. But I appreciate what you're doing, but I think it can be done through, like Scott is mentioning as well.
Okay, well, I'd like to see it memorialized, but this may be a different vehicle. What you're talking about.
Maybe this is step one in a multi-step process, but this keeps us in our lane and in our procedure.
Okay. All right, so I'll withdraw my motion.
Okay.
How's that? In lieu of the statistical report from you, and we can, as a subcommittee, can
Probably tell you in less than a minute after registration opens up.
Do
Do the fees cover the whole program?
I can include that in the
What do you mean
packet
for the whole program?
on the website
Salaries and stuff.
under this.
Oh,
item.
yeah.
No
Big
problem.
money.
I'm sorry, wait, what was the first part of that?
Well, it's supposed to be
Anything that
cost,
you
cost
collect,
neutral.
any document that you want to bring,
In your
I thought
subcommittee.
you were talking
in your
about as far as
research,
like
I
a
can
student
put
in the program.
under that
they have to buy
item
their own
as an
pens.
attachment, and I post it on the web prior to, 72 hours prior to the meeting, and it will be included in the packet.
Got
So, and then you discuss it under that item. So, that's just an intro before you guys end up changing the whole
Sure,
procedure.
sure.
But that's another option for you guys, so it will be on the website and will be available to the public and for everyone to see.
She wasn't old enough.
So,
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because her birthday's in August.
Would you like to say anything about our upcoming meeting?
So Chairman Bercuda and I have, through lots of emails back and forth, have finally scheduled some meeting with Falk to talk about the way that they gather, process, and report out their stats, and just gain a better understanding of it. I think long-term, the short-term, there is no change, and certainly no change that we would make. Long-term, I think it's just us getting better educated so that when it comes time for renewal of that ambulance contract, we have a better understanding of what we should ask for in an RFP.
Great.
So we will be able to report out on that meeting at our next Public Safety Committee meeting in March.
Absolutely. Good. Human trafficking. Now that one is the one that we.
Is it okay if I start? I brought everybody a training bulletin from LAPD that gives you kind of a little look at what PC 236 entails and the different parts of it, and how Chief, I'm not trying to, this is not saying anything about your deputies or anything, but a lot of people don't know about PC 236 and how a lot of law enforcement actually identifies and works with. And so it's just some reading material that try to bring people up to date on what one department does.
It's just a resource, right?
Yeah.
Boy, there's a lot of data here.
Thank you.
Like she said, they took a lot of tools away from the cops when they 647B, you can't do anything with minors on it,
Right.
which they did that. There was a view of, oh, why are we locking up all these little kids? Well, no, you didn't understand that if you don't give me the legal teeth to take that child off the street corner to somewhere safe and warm, I can't get them to roll on their pimp. So literally, hey, what are you doing out here? They could say, oh, I'm out here selling myself for money. Oh, how old are you? 16. All right, see you later. Like, you had no legal recourse.
Yeah.
And then they just changed the law. You can't stop people for loitering for the purposes of now. So, there you go. You get the
Very
word.
interesting world we live in.
Okay.
So,
Any more on the trafficking?
We're against it.
Gotta crush that crime. E-bike, bicycle and traffic safety.
So I have nothing to add, but I would like to, for the March meeting, now that the legislature, the stuff's on the books and all that stuff and it's in effect, I would ask everybody on the committee to come next month with some ideas on what they would like to, that's San Clemente specific. I have a few things in mind, and then I feel if we bring it in for open discussion next month, we can kind of hone it down to what we want, and then myself and, is it me and you?
Yep.
We can fine tune it
Okay.
to see, and then we can have a proposal for the city council to either say yay or nay to. Because I know they were real adamant about having a policy,
Yeah.
but we were real adamant of not duplicating work that the legislature was going to do.
Right.
We want to make it, if we're going to have San Clemente rules, they should be
San
tailored
Clemente
to
rules?
us, yeah. Anything else? on that?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Technology review. I don't have anything.
Where are we at with our field trip to Laguna Beach with whatever happened with that?
Well, something about the rains and the slides and everything else, and I couldn't get the city staff to, they don't have enough time to do it, so we ended up doing it ourselves, I guess. But
Doing what ourselves? Just
Going
showing
out
up?
and seeing it.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Are we? No, weren't we trying to get clarification if we could? Because there was a thing about just me and you going, which would be fine, and then if other people wanted to go, but if we had one more person, we couldn't go because it's a meeting.
So it's better just the subcommittee,
Yeah,
the
that's
two
what I thought,
people
yeah.
go. And you guys can do that anytime.
Yeah, but this is a actual operation. They're gonna actually turn them on and stuff, to demonstrate the volumes and stuff like that. And
We'll take a video of it and we'll show them.
There you go,
This
that's
is what
a
an
great
alarm
idea.
sounds like, right? It's like a deputy taking a picture of broken glass, right? It's like, oh, look at the broken glass.
Anyway, I'd like to take somebody from the city that has,
Now that we can do, that doesn't violate a quorum thing, right?
Right.
It's me, him, and a city person?
like the city manager. But
Yeah.
it was a little difficult to
Oh.
get it. Now, maybe the Marine safety guy might be interested, but he's got his own thing going too. But anyway.
You tell me and I'll
let's
be
work
there.
on it. Let's work on it.
Okay.
We're still working on the siren project. Okay. We're into police services. Chief, do you have anything to add?
I don't have anything to add.
Okay, I've got a question. We're looking at organized retail thefts, as far as do we have a problem here with smash and grabs and those types of things? Have you seen anything with that?
I think I reported last time, we had an operation at our outlets. We had investigators and deputies, plainclothes fashion, set up at the outlets, and over 5 or 6 weekends, we netted 27 in custody with thousands of property recovered. And I'll just add on that, my admin sergeant reached out to our stats people, and he just gave me this information today. Confirmed that out of the 60 cases our department submitted, reported, 24 cases were from San Clemente. So that's probably mostly as a result of our proactivity down there and stopping it as it was occurring. So, because a lot of times it will go unreported. There's stores that we have to convince that they want prosecution. A lot of times, some of the corporate stores, they do hire up, but the local store doesn't know that the corporate wants prosecution of these matters. So a lot of times they won't report it. So I know there were several cases during our sting operation that we'd go make contact with the store and they said, we weren't aware that there was a theft and now we don't want anything done. But then making phone calls to the corporate people, they're like, no, absolutely we want something done. So,
Gotcha.
yeah, so we're very proactive in it.
Good job.
It's helped. I'm sure it still occurs. We haven't seen any of the smash and grab type that you've seen on the news lately up in Beverly Hills and LA and San Diego. Our stores are a little different, but there are a couple high-end stores that are down there that we've had crews go in, work together in a conspiracy fashion and take things off shelves or racks, throw them in a bag and make it out.
Got it.
There's only 2 jewelry stores and outlets, right? Is it 1 or 2?
I don't recall. Yeah, it's a couple.
That's the one you ordered.
Not too many.
I tried to buy some electronics at Target. Nothing on the shelf.
Scarier than locking the lights stuff up. Let's see, fire services, Chief Ball's not here. We haven't got anything from him. Okay. Any more from Marine Safety? Chief.
So since our last meeting that I attended was 1/11, that was a special meeting. I had to leave early for beach sand project, so I can give you some updates since our last meeting of November 28th. It's over 260,000 beach visitors, lifeguards rescued, force members in distress, no drownings, 451 preventative actions performed, over 1,607 public education contacts, 27 medical incidents, 1,156 law enforcement contacts, with 3 deputy responses to those. The week of 12/27 to 12/31, on 12/30 we closed the pier from a west swell that was 10 to 16 feet. That was closed for the majority of the day. Had a piling that was broken and some bracings. This last storm last week, we had a couple of more bracings that were broken as well. Water temperature since the last time I reported is between 57 on the low end, 64 on the high end. Air temperature on the low end of 53 to 74. I think everyone's aware of all the rain events, which has caused numerous slides up and down the beach trail to the north, and also between Boca and Lost Winds, where that just reopened last week, right before the weekend. There were some decent sized rocks that had come down from a steep part of the trail that's narrow in 2 different locations there, so that was the reason for those closures. The beach trail is closed. You can go up Mariposa to the ramp to go up to the street, but once you go north of that, that's all the way closed to North Beach. They're mobilizing and starting to build a 160-foot wall, 10 to 15 foot high. That's identical to the wall that was put down below Casa. That's projected to be done late March. They have the equipment down there, so the trail will be closed. Even at the top of Portel and Dehay, there's fencing that keeps the public from going down on there. That has complicated our operations because that's our lifeline, the bridge. Now that the bridge is no longer accessible, our lifeline when the tide is high, then we take an ATV and go on the bridge and respond. So in the meantime, we have to respond via the street, just like we did before. We do have a watercraft that we could get up there, but once we're just a couple weeks away from, maybe a week and a half away from a full month and a half of spring breakers coming from out of state to our own, which is at the end of March. So I have a container going up there, just like you've seen in the past, up at the North Beach parking lot. But the contractor, OCTA, they've taken over a majority of the parking lot. The beach is open up at North Beach. There is a little walkway, I don't know if you guys have been up there, from the fence line to the railroad fence. They left probably like a 3-foot section that you can get around, but I think mainly most of the people that drive in there, it's like, oh, this must be closed, so there's not too much activity up there right now, and the erosion's been pretty bad, I'm sure. Watch council meetings, you see already been up there, you've seen North Beach, but it's been in that condition before, and the sand's already starting to return. So we did have to move 14 in preparation with the high tides and the big surf behind the restroom back there. So as soon as we can get a tractor up there and build the berm up, then we'll put that back out. So what else? Like I said, our Rookie Academy started just last weekend. We'll finish the third weekend in March, which will be good because the following weekend is the start of spring break for Copley Unified School District. And then soon, I would hope within three weeks or 4 weeks, we'll have another marine safety officer in place. Sand project, as we all know, started December 22nd. They pulled out on January 9th. They went down to Solana Beach. They are projected to finish up there on March 6th. That project was 700,000 cubic yards, and then they'll move down to Encinitas. They were going to take the dredge pipe from here, but they are going to take the 90-foot Bayport dredge and bring it into port and make some repairs. So they're going to move down the Solana pipeline down to Encinitas. They're going to pump up 400,000 cubic yards down there. So that's a good sign that potentially they'll be returning. And let's Leah Meyerhoff with the environmental for the city is working. It's just really hard to get the correct permits in place so they can find a different site for good sand. So cross your fingers, we may see some sand coming in May.
Wow.
If everything goes in place. So, which is going to add definitely some logistical obstacles for us because that dredge pipe that's there, the current's going to be switching here within a month or so. So you have that south current people. So we're going to have to manage if they do come in, contract classes, special events that are in the calendar, junior lifeguards and stuff. So we'll see. As we get closer, we'll see how things roll out. If they do come back. But that's all I have to report from the beach.
You're doing a hell of a job down there with all the disadvantages
The
of
team
the
is
bridge
doing
out.
a hell of a job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you're responsible.
Yeah.
I see.
I appreciate all your support.
I actually have a question.
Oh, and I'm sorry
No, you're
to interrupt you. The restrooms are open at the base of the pier.
Hey,
They opened
finally.
yesterday.
Wow, ribbon cutting? They needed it. That's
Yeah.
What about the dumpster corral? Is that real?
The materials there, they just need to get the
No, it's a TP cutting.
So, ignorance on this from my part. The lifeguards, they can drive. They're allowed to drive code 3 licensed sirens.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not on the street though.
Oh, they're not. Oh, okay.
You can go to code 2. Yeah.
No, when you said like you have to go around to North Beach, that's like,
Yeah.
oh, I wonder if they're allowed to drive
Well,
code 3.
we will be staffing someone up there, so we don't have to. If you should we have someone? Should we send someone there? Once we get to the point where it's like, nah, we need to have someone up there, we'll have someone up there. Once we get the container, we'll have an ATV, and they're still working on the inside of the North Beach restroom. We need to set up a meeting and talk about that.
And that building is not going anywhere, right? This is on Caisson.
Yeah, it's on caissons. It won't go anywhere. It'll stay there before the rest of the buildings, the restrooms on the beach.
Got it. Okay, great. All right, I have a comment on the committee chair. I sent out a little thing on this Earthquake County Alliance. It's a webinar that's going to be tomorrow.
Tomorrow at 10 o'clock, right?
10 o'clock, and they're going to be talking about all sorts of interesting things about earthquakes and histories and stuff like that. So if you didn't get it and still want it, I'll still get it to you. You have to register for this thing. It's 2 hours. Starts at 10, goes to noon. So let me know. All right, committee members. Mark, do you have anything you'd like to?
I do not.
Okay, Scott.
Nope.
Good,
And
thank you.
Mike, we're good there? City staff, darn,
Hi.
let's get for it.
Well, so you guys saw the park ranger uniform update, which was fantastic. They didn't model the jackets, but they brought them. We're waiting on the ball caps. So Trevor has the wide brim, kind of
Campaign hat.
the campaign hats. The rest of the team will have the ball caps that match the color green in the pants and in the jacket. Those are on delay, but we're hoping maybe tomorrow we'll have those in. We conducted a number of interviews for the 4 part-time positions. We have 2 candidates that we want to offer the position to. However, it's been difficult to find kind of a higher quality of candidate for these part-time. So we are going to interview. Hopefully, we'll get another batch of applications, and we'll find some good candidates in that. So we have 2, and we're going to look for 2 more. So that's the update on the park rangers. Code, there's too many to name. There's always something. We have our massage inspection scheduled for tomorrow. However, my senior has been out sick, and everyone's gotten this weird cold, so we might have to reschedule that out for the next week. But we do those biannually. We only have 5 massage establishments here in San Clemente. There are some accessory uses that are ancillary in some of the nail salons or hair salons, but as far as just massage, we only have 5. So it should be pretty quick. We have a checklist, kind of like what Stacy was talking about, and we do look for specific things that could potentially indicate trafficking, but we're also looking for a host of other things, from extension cords being used as permanent wiring, window signage, if they have their certificates not only posted on the wall, but so there's a number of things that that they need to look for out on those inspections. And other than that,
Just for clarification, you said your inspections are biannual?
mhm.
I mean, every 2 years?
No, I mean
Semi-annual? Every
twice a
6
year.
months?
Yes,
Semi-annual.
semi-annual.
Yeah, I just want to
Sorry,
clarify.
yeah, no, you're 100% right. Semi-annual.
That's why it seemed like a stretch there.
Yeah, no.
Okay, good. Well, thank you, everybody, for coming in. I will move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
The Public Safety Committee meeting the next one will be Tuesday, March 26th to 2024 at 3 p.m. in the City Council Chambers in City Hall. Need a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
So what were they doing in council chambers that was only affecting our part?
Here we go.
It wasn't just
Because I mean, when we were in there for the city council meeting the other day, it looked the same. They're remodeling or what is it?
they're doing some.
Technology, like sounds.
Audio
It
visual.
was more the schedule.
It's very up
They
Danielle,
spoke with the contractors,
is this
so
one of your
every
folks?
time there's a meeting
Yeah.
there, they
Thank
were
you,
having
Ryan.
to move
We've
their
been
stuff
playing
and come
pickleball
back
in that
and
court
come
for
back. So they
years.
were-
Ryan.
they
Yeah, there
were
was a
meeting
formal
with
complaint. This is my
council,
senior
so they're wrapping
officer.
it up, and
So-
now we can-
Was it
every time they would have, there's like
Yes,
6
of
or
course.
7
We don't
days, so it's delayed
proactively
in
go.
the-
We don't have the staff.
It's
Call
an HOA.
Brett. I'll let him know that you contacted me. No, so there's a couple. So this was originally a tennis, I guess,
Tennis basketball court. And then
Right.
with pickleball, I mean, that was in 1975.
Okay, but
When
you're
pickleball came in, we
strict.
started.
No, I completely understand. but they're real strict about the zoning. So when you change the use, even though it's to me similar,
So what do I
right?
need to do? Change it.
I think that he had reached out to the HOA. I don't know if he's going to be in tomorrow. What's your number?
909.
Because my senior's the one that's sick.
909
In the interim.
376
376.
909
Yeah, I got it.
376 0646.
Now, the issue would be though, we have to, who is the responsible party? It's the HOA or property
I don't know
manager?
the board. So,
Okay, so I don't know if he's already spoken to whoever represents your property management.
we have a meeting tonight, so I'll find out.
Yeah,
I
find
just saw
out.
this in the past.
We just can't have multiple points of contact, but if you guys want to coordinate you and the property management and talk to Brett, or we can come in and have a meeting or do a phone conference.
It's all new for me.
I know
Why can't
that
we change stats?
that change of use
A, B,
triggered
C,
that
D.
violation. So
It's
a lot
the
of
government.
people
We have to
hate
make
that
everything work.
noise of as
So what would we have to do to?
you'd have to submit plans in order to change it, but let me look at the case and see how involved it is. Like I said, this is Brett
Taylor
case.
Forest already submitted the plan. We just poured a brand new court.
That was the issue,
Yeah,
yeah.
we just poured a brand new court, and they're striping it for both uses.
Right.